in left field is Alex Sheehan. Sydney Russell getting the start in center field.
We continue our quest to crowning a national champion here in Salem, Virginia. 8 teams still remain in the hunt by the end of today. As we have 6 games on this slate, we will be down to 4. It is our first elimination game of the week. It features the Engineers of WPI and the Bulldogs of TLU, as Katie Martin back in the circle. Those Bulldogs were here last year, your national runner-up, coming up just short, forcing all 3 games against Virginia Wesleyan in that final. For WPI, just their 4th ever trip to the NCAA tournament. It is their first appearance to the national championship. Lincoln Rose, along with former Houston Cougars Sydney Gearbrack, as the fans patiently waited through yesterday, got to enjoy the Blue Ridge Mountains, a day off, as we only saw about 2 innings of softball yesterday to make up and complete the 4th and final game from the opening day's bracket. We're going to make up for it today.
We sure are, and happy to see Katie Martin in the circle. We know that she's going to be shouldering most of the innings for WPI, split with the other 3 pitchers on their pitching rotation. But Katie Martin, again, going to shoulder most of the innings, going to ride her arm all the way, or as long as they can.
Kelly Jordan leads things off. Kelly comes up to the plate here, 1 stolen base shy of the single-season Division III mark, tying that mark. She is already your all-time stolen base record holder in Division III. As she tries to set the table, she'll be followed by Maddie Johnson, Casey Martin, top third of the order for Wade Wilson's group from Seguin, Texas for WPI. Again, Katie Martin gets her 2nd straight start, went 5 innings in the opening game back on Thursday. Martin would allow 7 runs, all earned, walked 3, struck out 4. A couple of home runs to the opposition of CNU. The 2-2 for Martin, as Jordan will slap it over to the WPI dugout. Again, WPI out of the NUMAC, the New England Women's and Men's Athletic Conference. TLU, Texas Lutheran University, out of the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference, the SCAC. Again, the 2-2 to Jordan. That's a fair ball, and you got to be clean to get her speed off the base paths, and that's exactly what they get in that third baseman in Shannon Lazarus over there.
Going to be key for the WPI defense to keep Jordan off the bases. Lincoln, you noted that she is the stolen base record holder for Division III. She has 77 attempts on the season, 72 successful attempts.
Yeah, she had 3 stolen bases in that first game for TLU this week. Here's Maddie Johnson, who so often comes up to the plate with the speedster in front of her on the base paths. She'll try to set the table here with 1 out, nobody on.
What we've seen from Jordan and Johnson all year is this 1-2 punch. So if Jordan's not able to get the job done, has Maddie Johnson behind her, that triple threat, bunt, slap, and power. And Johnson is one of those players that has the it factor in these big games, so you can expect, or hopefully you can expect, to see big performance in those big moments from her.
Johnson with a shortstop, Ambrosino, and Ambrosino able to get it across the diamond in time. 2 up, 2 down. A couple of speedsters off the base paths so far for the Bulldogs. Again, Lindsay Ambrosino, your Elite 90 award winner, and I love that new addition, the patch that they get to wear. Had the top academic resume of all of the student athletes for these championship teams. A modest 4.0 in electrical engineering, and something else I probably can't pronounce.
And big nod to these student athletes. Being an athlete in college is certainly a full-time job, and we're here to get a degree. Student comes before athletes, and that phrasing for a reason.
Next student athlete at the plate, Casey Martin. Martin, your player of the year in the conference. Grew up just south of Houston. 441 hitter coming into this week. Comes up here with 2 outs and nobody on. And 3 ground balls left side of the infield. That is a 3 up, 3 down inning for Katie Martin. WPI is your home team in this elimination game. It'll be Russell, Sheehan, and Salvalzo. The minimum 3 due up when you rejoin us.
She'll be handling the catching duties for the starting pitcher for Texas Lutheran with a record of 23 victories atop 0 defeats. Number 10.
The Bulldogs, for a third straight championship, are in the hunt. Your 2019 winners in their first ever trip to this final week in Division III. They'd win it all. They never had to leave the state of Texas that year in their postseason journey, winning it in Tyler. In fact, we'll be back about an hour from Tyler next year. We will be on the campus of ETBU, East Texas Baptist. They're in Marshall, Texas. In the circle, it's the All-American Ashlyn Strother. As first time we see Strother here this week, pitcher of the year in the conference. It's her 27th appearance, 26 starts, a .65 ERA, which Sydney Greerbracht has informed me is pretty good.
Well, and if you're the Bulldog coaching staff, Strother is the obvious choice here, like you shared, All-American, .65 ERA, does not have a loss yet on the season.
She was 2-1 last year here in Salem, along with a save in 5 games in which she appeared. And we are bearing the lead. Sydney Russell leading things off for WPI. We did not see Sydney finish the game after getting the start in the outfield, trying to track down a home run ball, collided with the fence, got a little knock. But great to see that she is back in contention here with WPI. And on top of that, a leadoff walk here. A reminder, Heather Ross and WPI have exactly 13 healthy players. So glad to have that 13th player back.
And I know we were talking before the broadcast how much we were looking forward to seeing Sydney Russell back in the lineup. And good to see that she made a quick recovery. I know she's been important to this WPI offense.
She was 1 for 2 the other day with an RBI. As she reaches here at the walk, here's Alex Sheehan now coming up, and we'll see if they go for some small ball or if they're looking for a bigger effort early on. Sheehan out of Marion, Massachusetts, the sophomore. Mentioned turned 21 the day before this week got started. All 4 games that we saw on the opening day, really every team we saw was credible. By the nature of the bracket, half of them had to win, half of them had to lose. Each of these 2 teams had their chances. The Bulldogs' offense was not what we have seen in recent years and seen for most of this season. So after scoring just 1 run in their loss, we anticipate an offensive renaissance here today with the season on the line. That was the earliest loss suffered by them in a championship week.
Well, and this is a program that has some championship prowess, and that's really their advantage. They're used to being here as a program. That's really their legacy, and WPI doesn't have that. However, WPI is incredibly scrappy. They've played with their back against the wall all year long. They've really had 13 healthy players. We've seen the same 9 people in the lineup every game with those 2 and those additional 2 pitchers. So I think you have some really interesting makeups of these 2 teams that'll make for a good ball game.
Sheehan was 1 for 4 in the game against CNU. As again, opposite way and foul. Again, WPI is the only team that didn't have an easy path through their super regional. All 7 other teams that are here swept their Friday and Saturday's games. WPI is not only the only team to win in 3, they're the only team to even force a 3rd game of those who lost on Super Regional Friday. This one to Brandolyn D. They get the lead runner. Excellent job by D at 3rd. Has no hesitation to wipe Sydney Russell off the base paths.
Second base, number 24, Alicia.
Sheehan will now replace her on the fielder's choice as your base runner.
And a great heads-up play, keeping a runner out of scoring position.
I'll give way to Alicia Salvalzo. Salvalzo 0 for 2 with a run scored, a couple of walks in that 8-6 loss against CNU. Those 6 runs put up by WPI, the most any team managed to score against the captains of CNU this postseason. Runner going, and throw just off the mark, stolen base for Sheehan. So runner in scoring position for WPI with 1 out here in the first inning. For Sheehan, now 23 for 26 on the year in the thieving of bases department. So Salvalzo with a base hit might be giving WPI a lead. Count 1-2. Again, we saw 2 pitchers for TLU in that opening game. It was Wallette who got the start. Amanda White came in relief. Strother, we assumed, was going to be saved for a critical elimination game like today. So a lot of coaches hold back on what you would presume to be their ace. With that said, most of these teams have a pretty darn good second option who would be the ace for most programs around the country.
The depth of the pitching rotation you've seen for all of these programs. I think, of course, once you get to this level and you get to this stage, that's really what you've come to expect, right? Every pitcher can be an important tool in getting some of those wins.
Never will that be appreciated more than in a double elimination tournament with your season on line. There are a lot of teams that are built potentially to come out of the elimination bracket and still have a chance at the end of this week.
Well, and we talked earlier in our first couple games how a lot of these teams have noted that they don't want to use this opportunity as they're just happy to be here. They're here to compete. They're here to see if they can win a national championship, regardless of whether this is their first time or their 10th time.
Salvalzo able to lay off of that one. Again, this is the first of our 2 elimination games to get today started. The teams that win these first 2 games will come back later on tonight and play again with their season on the line, and that's the second free pass for WPI as there are now runners on second and first. Salvalzo trots down.
And really important, especially on a pitcher like Strother, and tip your hat to Salvalzo. That's a really productive at bat. Gave her teammates a lot of opportunities to see multiple pitches, chose great pitches to take her hacks at, and ultimately was able to win with a walk.
Here's Jocelyn Diaz with 2 on and 1 out here in the home half of the first inning. Sophomore out of Reedley, California. Came into this week hitting .272. We saw her go 1 for 3 with 2 RBI and a run scored in that contest against CNU. A healthy cut, count 1-1.
And the Engineers came out hot against CNU. They were the first in this tournament to score. And CNU had their work cut out for them as WPI put up as many runs as they could. Ultimately, incredibly high-scoring game. I think it was 8-6 ultimately between the captains and the Engineers.
Yeah, for the captains, those 8 runs pretty standard, but for WPI to get 6 against a team that only has 1 loss all year long. I mentioned all the teams that lost on the opening day. A couple things go their way, and all of a sudden they're on the winner's side of things. The 1-2 to Diaz from Strother with 2 on and 1 out. And a big hack, but down on strikes. First strikeout for Ashlyn Strother in her start today and her 2022 debut here in Salem.
Well, and Strother just shy of 200 strikeouts coming into this game. Does a great job starting that rise up at the letters and out of the zone. Starts it out and keeps it out. Good pitch for strike 3.
So we've got multiple pitchers who are flirting with 200 strikeouts. Ms. Shawn for Eastern Connecticut State will be in our next game against Milliken in our second elimination game of the day. Again, we are still playing with 8 teams in Division III. By the end of today, that will be down to 4. We'll have 2 more elimination games tomorrow.
And one of the advantages of getting to play this long into the season, right? So these are the final 8 teams standing, is that you get the opportunity to add to some of the stats that have earned you some accolades all year long. And Strother is obviously no exception. And like you shared, Lincoln, a number of pitchers who are flirting with that 200 mark. Huge accomplishment for them.
Callie Case at the plate, the Phoenix native in her sophomore campaign. As the folks who made their way primarily from the Lone Star State to cheer on their Bulldogs, squaring off against the Engineers of WPI today. But for Case, we mentioned 13 healthy players for WPI. Only 3 players really this year came back for Heather Ross with any kind of playing experience here at the collegiate level. Of course, Heather Ross herself a newcomer to the team, first-year head coach. Caught looking, so Ashlyn Strother overcomes a couple of free passes for WPI hitters. She'll strand 2, Back-to-back strikeouts to get out of the first. We are scoreless after one on what's going to be a busy day 3 in Salem.
Leading off the second for the Bulldogs at the number 4 position in the order, first base, 14, Laura Hernandez.
Looking at the dugout of the Bulldogs of TLU. They are the only team back from last year's field of 8. Their 3rd straight championship appearance. The first 3 appearances in their program's history. All a part of the immediate stamp that Wade Wilson has put on this program now in his 11th year. 380 victories, 8 straight conference championships, and 8-time conference coach of the year. And it was a program, TLU, that postseason was not that common, as they had only won 46% of their games all time as a program. Since he's taken over, they've won about 83%. Laura Hernandez leads things off, your cleanup hitter for TLU. A 1-1 offering from Martin. She'll punch this one out towards right, but Callie Case is there. As Katie Martin and this defense for WPI have retired the first 4 TLU batters in order.
Batting 5th, the designated player, number 12.
Well, and again, Lincoln, we talked about how this team has played with the humans that you've seen on this field right now all season long. So this team really knows how to play well together. Great chemistry. And they all really trust Katie Martin in the circle.
Bailey Hudgens, your DP now, comes up with 1 out, nobody on. Hudgens out of Dripping Springs, Texas, the former Dripping Springs High Tiger. We saw her last year all 5 games, both as an outfielder and a pinch hitter. Just 3 at-bats officially, went 0 for 3 last year. Expanded role here this year. Was 1 for 2 in the opening game against Barry. We'll see Barry later on today. They hope just once.
And for those of you at home who did not get an opportunity to watch that TLU Barry game, TLU was stunned by the energy and the offense that Barry came out early with. Bats were hot. TLU just wasn't able to catch up after a couple early innings with some runs scored.
Yeah, Barry struck for 3 in the first, would tack on 2 late in the 6th to hang on for a 5-1 win. As the count goes full here to Hudgens, facing Katie Martin. Katie, a grad student, first team all-conference, was your most outstanding player and your most outstanding pitcher in the Super Regional last weekend. As over to Salvalzo, and that is 5 up, 5 down.
Martin doing a great job being efficient with her pitches. Has had some deep counts so far. And you can expect that with some of these hitters, you know, seeing the ball the best they have all season and really trusting her defense to do the job.
Martin has pitched 75 of the 77 innings for WPI this postseason coming into today. We did see her come out for the final inning of work a couple games ago. You saw Wade Wilson there overstanding at third, and I mentioned only half-hearted, jokingly, after that first game, usually he has ice on his shoulder because he's waving runners home constantly. That has not been the case so far in Salem. Bulldogs kept off the board. They've gone 6 up, 6 down. WPI again will gather their bats, looking to strike first.
Leading off the bottom half of the second for WPI.
Tell you, this generation always on their phones. Presumably, they are streaming us live on NCAA.com. As here we are in the home half of the second inning. WPI stranded 2 base runners back in the first. It was a promising start. Here's Shayna Lazarus, your third baseman for the Engineers, trying to get something started. Megan Rose, Sydney Gearbracht with you. As teams from the Lone Star State and Massachusetts collide here in our first of 6 games today.
Seeing the WPI offense so far, choose some really great pitches. Have an idea of what they're looking for, taking their hacks. Just gets fooled there by an off speed.
Yeah, Strother just leaving Lazarus guessing there. It'll be Shayna Lazarus, Kelly Pritchard, and Lindsay Ambrosino, the 6, 7, and 8 hitters due up here. Your 9th spot occupied by Stephanie Bishop to round out the order for the Engineers. 0-2 offering from the All-American Strother. Just off the mark, Sarah Metzer completes the battery with her. Your infield for TLU, Brandolyn D at third, Faith Hernandez at short, Casey Martin at second, Laura Hernandez at first. Your outfielders, Jordan, Rains, and Johnson from left to right. Now the 1-2 to Lazarus. Got her. Third straight strikeout for Ashlyn Strother, including the 2 to close out last inning in a jam.
Batting 7th, first base, number 11, Kelly Pritchard.
Strother doing a great job working every tool she has in her arsenal. Off speed, keeping it low down at the knees, then using that rise ball again for that strikeout pitch. Swing and a miss.
As Kelly Pritchard will fight the first one foul. Kelly Pritchard out of Orange, Connecticut, just a freshman. For all she knows, you go to the national championship every year in college softball. Hitting .295 coming into this week with 3 home runs. Mentioned grew up in a baseball family. Her dad, head coach at his alma mater, University of New Haven. Brother played baseball at Maine. Baseball is a lot like softball. I don't know if you've heard that. The 0-2. Got her looking. That is 4 straight strikeouts. There is a reason why she has All-American by her name. Starting to dial in.
And keeps that pitch nice and low, just maybe half a ball length off the outside corner.
Now to Ambrosino.
And Ambrosino is this heart and soul, or described by her coaches as the heart and soul of this Engineer squad.
Trying to spark something here with 2 outs. As Strother has struck out the 4, 5, 6, and 7 hitters now. Our umpires today, Joe Havenhill, along with Leslie Anderson and Stacy Stobo. The 0-2. Just unable to frame that one. Appreciate the effort from Sarah Metzer. Leslie Anderson there at first. Stacy Stobo at third. Mr. Havenhill calling the balls and strikes. Got her. 5 straight Ks on the resume for Ashlyn Strother now. So she keeps the Engineer bats at bay, scoreless after 2 here in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
In the number 7 position in the Texas Lutheran order, leading things off for the Bulldogs as we head to the top of the third. Catcher, 20, Sarah Metzer.
We are told those are friendly clouds, as no chance of rain on the horizon. This will be a tough hop for middle of the infield, but Salvalzo up to the task. And the Bulldogs, as well as their pitcher, has started to settle in. So far have gone 7 up, 7 down to begin this elimination contest. As Sarah Metzer retired. Katie Martin showed up for work here this morning.
Yeah, both pitchers making quick work of their opposing offenses, and you're seeing some hacks early in the count, some aggression from both offenses. 2
pitches, 2 outs, pretty good ROI. As Rains grounds out to Lazarus.
Batting 9, third base, number 8, Brandolyn D.
Lazarus getting a lot of work over there at third.
That is already her 3rd put out. Brandolyn D, the number 9 hitter for the Bulldogs. As just trying to get on any way they can. D out of Cibolo, Texas, near San Antonio, the sophomore. Again, got one at bat last year here. That was in the final game when Coach Wilson was able to get several players in to reward them late. As Katie Martin gets in on the fun. Ball slapped back to the circle, able to recover. As she works her way perfectly through the lineup for the first time against the Bulldogs. Bottom of the third up next. Well, Ashlyn Strother has struck out the last 5 Engineers as she has settled into the rhythm. The problem is every time she leaves the circle, somebody named Katie Martin takes her place. As Martin working through a perfect 3 innings so far. Question is, can Martin's teammates give her a lead to work with in the circle? Here's your 9-hitter, Stephanie Bishop. Bottom half of the 3rd inning. Bishop out of Milford, New Hampshire, the senior. Split the catching duties early this year. Now has settled into the DP role.
Saw some exciting offense in day 1/2 of our first 4 games of this championship. And, you know, it's nice to see the pitchers have settled in. Looks like some of the nerves are been worked out of their system. And they're really starting to throw some of their best pitches.
Yeah, you'll forgive us if we're clumsy with the terminology on what day this is. Should be back on track by the time our alarm wakes us up tomorrow. So it's Stephanie Bishop, then top of the order, Sydney Russell and Alex Sheehan due up to face Ashlyn Strother. The 1-2 from the Bulldog pitcher just off the mark. Bishop able to lay off it. WPI season last year came up short in the conference semifinals against Springfield. They played a couple of extra inning games. That is how their season would end. And that is 6 straight strikeouts against the bottom 2/3 of this lineup for the Engineers.
Number 67, Sydney Russell.
Strother using the very, very bottom of that strike zone, keeping it low at the knees. And I will say those are some of the best strikes we've seen thrown so far, I would argue, just in terms of their placement. Strother really doing a great job working her spots.
Remember, Strother walked 2 of the first 3 batters she faced today, including this woman, Sydney Russell. Russell shoots this one out towards the gap, but reigns underneath it. 2 away.
Left fielder, number 27, Alex Sheehan.
Alex Sheehan was stranded on second base back in the first inning. That's the closest either team has come to scoring so far. And she had grounded one to the left side that retired the lead runner. She would then steal a bag to advance to second. Comes up here with 2 outs, nobody on. 52nd game for her, 52nd game this year for WPI. And that one just off the mark. And just 4th ever NCAA tournament for the Engineers. First ever trip to the championship. Bulldogs were in a similar spot in 2019. This is their 6th ever NCAA tournament. They've been to every postseason in the NCAA since 2014. And Sheehan's bunt goes foul. And they count 1-2 when she picks her bat back up. With 2 outs, nobody on. Count will stay at 1-2. We mentioned the turnaround for TLU upon the arrival of Wade Wilson. We had mentioned back on the first day, but we'll forgive you if you don't recall. Engineers from 1995 to 2002 won a total of 26 games. Now over the last 2 decades, 4 different head coaches have helped continue to build upon one another's tenure. Ashlyn Strother has struck out 7 of the last 8 batters she has faced to keep zeros on the board here in our opening game. Move on to the top of the 4th as Katie Martin in the circle has faced the minimum number of Bulldogs so far. Now back to the top of the order. First time through the order, Martin got 7 ground outs, ultimately outs made at first, and a couple of flyouts to right field. Back to Kelly Jordan. Jordan, the senior All-American out of Brenham, Texas. 72 stolen bases, 1 shy of the all-time Division III mark. Already has the all-time record for the career. I believe it was a talented Marlin of Virginia Wesleyan last year who set the previous record.
I'm having fun watching Jordan's eyes whenever we get a close-up, checking out where the defense is before the pitch is thrown. Seeing her scan back to Martin, back over to the defense on the left side. Seeing where she can perfectly place a ball off the bat.
That one just about a foot foul. Again, Kelly Jordan, Maddie Johnson, Casey Martin all due up, all grounded out to the left side of the infield back in the first inning. And Jordan lays off a pretty decent looking pitch just on the outside of the plate. 3-2. Payoff pitch. Left side, Lazarus, and that time not clean. Second ball that Jordan sends the way of Shayna Lazarus, and this time Kelly Jordan gets to run the bases. That is an error on the third baseman.
Tough play there for Lazarus. Just looks like not able to get it on the bounce.
So here's Maddie Johnson. This feels a little bit more normal with a teammate named Jordan on the base paths. Jordan looking for history, and she has stolen base number 73 to tie the record. And a record all to her own is just 60 feet away.
And so exciting for the All-American, and what a better time to do it, right? Do or die, senior year.
We saw her steal both second and third in the opening game. There's nobody really keeping her honest on second right now as both shortstop and third baseman shifted over towards the third base line.
Well, and last time we saw Kelly Jordan take 2 stolen bases back-to-back. I think, Lincoln, you actually called it. Last time we saw her on the base paths.
Left side, only plays at first as Ambrosino not distracted by Jordan, able to retire Maddie Johnson. But now all of a sudden the speedster Kelly Jordan is 60 feet away from giving the Bulldogs a lead in this elimination game. Does she steal home for the record? You laugh now. As Casey Martin at the plate. Neither team with a base hit. WPI has had a couple of base runners via walks. An error has Jordan on third right now, after stealing second and advancing to third on the ground out from Johnson. Martin ahead of the count, 2-0.
Well, Martin's going to be one of 3 speedsters joining Kelly Jordan, and then also center fielder Chastity Rains for the Bulldogs.
Martin drove in the only run in their loss against their opening round opponent. And they would fall to Barry 5-1. PLU finding its lone run in the third inning in that game. Bulldogs were the home team in that game. WPI was the visiting team in their loss, which made it an easy decision to make WPI the home team here. The 2-2. And Kelly Jordan, standing on third, has already tied the single season Division III stolen base mark with 72. It's already her 4th stolen base of the week. Already has the all-time career mark of now 242 with that most recent bag. Slow roller. Second out at first. Jordan on the delay, comes home. Tag is not applied, and Jordan has given the Bulldogs a lead. All Casey Martin needed to do was put a ball into play. Kelly Jordan could do the rest.
Sometimes it doesn't matter how it looks, just matters that you get it done. Martin able to put the ball in play in between the lines. Jordan trusts herself. And just like that tag is just missed, and a good slide there from Jordan. Doing whatever she can to stay out of reach.
What a great look from our crew there. Next pitch, Hernandez left side, but it's one pitch too late as the Bulldogs, with Kelly Jordan touching home, have a lead in this elimination game through 3.5 innings of play. Engineers are going to need to be able to find their first run. Try to find an answer when you rejoin us.
Now batting for WPI in the last of the 4th inning.
WPI making their first trip to Salem and to the championship week. Casey Martin putting a ball into play that brings home Kelly Jordan in the top half of this inning. WPI still looking for its first hit off Ashlyn Strother, who has struck out 7 of the last batters she has faced. As Strother now has a lead to defend. Here's Salvalzo, your number 3 hitter. She was the last Engineer to reach base against Strother. It's been 8 straight retired. Mentioned 7 strikeouts and 1 flyout to center field.
Strother doing a great job working the lower half of the strike zone, going right at the Engineer offense. Not throwing very many balls, and really using that swing and miss pitch when she's ahead in the count with 2 strikes. Otherwise, she's going right at him. And some of her best pitches that are for sure strikes.
You recall a time when you were facing an opponent's pitcher who was just lights out pitching, striking out all your teammates and thinking, well, surely I can just put a bat on a ball and try to end this run. Those strikeouts, easier said than done. This one off the handle to Hernandez in foul territory, 1 away.
The short answer to your question is yes. The long answer to your question is...
Catcher, number 45, Jocelyn.
Well, we don't have enough time.
We'll get that answer by the 3rd game. Here's Jocelyn Diaz. Again, we have a pitcher with a perfect game against a pitcher with a no-hitter right now in a low-scoring affair. Bottom of the 4th.
Well, WPI, you know, they're doing a good job of choosing the pitch that's a little bit higher, right? So they're not choosing the pitch that's right at the knees, but they're going to have to start choosing that if Strother continues to throw it there and continues to get ahead. You're gonna have to see if they can compete with Strother's best pitch, and sometimes you have to do that.
And a correction of that last statement. Both pitchers are just working with no hitters right now after the error last half inning. That helped give Strother a lead to work with. And laying off the 0-2, Diaz. She was the first of 6 straight strikeout victims for the All-American. We are seeing a lot of the best here in this final week. We always welcome that. As Strother double dips at the expense of Diaz. 2 away.
Right fielder, number 29, Callie Case.
Did not see her in that first game. But you know, is a no-doubter for her to get the start here today. First pitch off the mark to Callie Case, 0 for 1 with a strikeout back in the first. Out to Chassie Rains in center. And a 3-up, 3-down response. They trust Ashlyn Strother with a 1-run lead. They maintain that run advantage after 4.
Now batting for Texas Lutheran as we head to the 5th inning. Designated player, number 12, Bailey Hudgens.
Folks making their way out from Texas for a second straight year to Salem, Virginia. Great to have you with us as Salem, the City of Champions in Division III. Longtime hosts of the Division III Football Championship, the Stag Bowl, and Division III Men's Basketball Championship over at the Salem Civic Center. Today, we're one of only 2 sports being contested for national championships overall this weekend. Ball shot up the middle, and that's your first base hit of the ball game for either team. Bailey Hudgens, the DP, comes through with a single.
Shortstop, number 30, Faith Hernandez.
Hudgens hitting early in the count, drives that ball up the middle.
Wade Wilson is going to run for Bailey Hudgens as Kirsten Williams will take her place. 42nd game on the year for Williams, who we saw last year as a pinch runner on 3 occasions.
Your attention, please. Pinch running at first for TLU, number 27, Kirsten
We saw
Williams.
Kirsten run as well
Williams, pinch running
in their
for
opening
Hudgens at
game this
first.
week.
And like you shared, Lincoln, this has not been the most active offensive performance we've seen from either team. Really haven't seen the bats light up quite yet for Texas Lutheran. But what I love about what Bailey Hudgens does in that last at bat, she makes sure that even though she's one of the big hitters on this Bulldog squad, not looking to do too much, just trying to get her team ahead and on base paths.
Well, the Bulldogs are going to be as good as anybody at manufacturing runs with their speed on the base paths. They are relentless. They're going to make you execute. And let's see if they're going to ask whether the runner left early. Umpires will come together, and then they're on top of that. There can always be a review. Again, this is the first year Division III has replay available. Coaches can challenge twice at any point throughout the game. Umpires can initiate the challenge after the 6th inning gets underway. But no review here. As they ask for help, you appreciate that. But they're going to say, unless coach wants to initiate a review, we play on. Faith Hernandez, your shortstop for the Bulldogs, trying to get a bunt down to move Williams from 2nd to 3rd. This is after Bailey Hudgens led off this inning with the first hit of the game for either team. Kirsten Williams has been running in her place. Hernandez flied out to right back in the 2nd inning, 0 for 1 today. See if she squares around again. Trying to find that insurance run. The 1-2 from Katie Martin. This one punched out towards right, could be trouble. Kirsten Williams will round 3rd base. She's coming home with ease. She'll stand up, cross the plate. It's 2-0 Bulldogs. Insurance on the board. The RBI base hit from Faith Hernandez.
And a great choice there by Faith Hernandez. Good awareness where runner's at. Hits behind her runner, chooses the ball outside. And a very productive at-bat and double there for Faith Hernandez, who has stepped up as a freshman with the bat, had few errors on defense. This has been really efficient for the Bulldogs in her freshman campaign.
RBI double for Hernandez. They are going to run for her with Sydney Cox.
Number 1.
5th appearance on the year for Cox, and a big opportunity for her now.
Pinch running at first in place
Sydney
of
grew up in
Faith
Frisco,
Hernandez
just
for the
north
Bulldogs.
of Dallas. Started her academic pursuit at Hardin-Simmons, another school in Texas, before making her way to Seguin.
Taking a look at where the outfielders are, seeing where she can push the envelope.
Both batters this inning have had base hits, a single and a double. A run has scored. Here's Sarah Metzer. And Metzer, who hit a home run last year here in Salem, squares around, forces the execution. Nicely done. It does advance the runner. Cox over to third on the sacrifice. Big pop in the bat of Metzer, that time able to execute. Small ball.
Center fielder, number 6, Chastity Rains.
That's your first out of the inning. And another run is 60 feet away. Chastity Rains in the 8-hole. Over one today with a ground out to the left side.
And ideally, you're making adjustments within your at-bat pitch to pitch. Looks like the Bulldogs have done a better job this game of making adjustments at-bat to at-bat off of Martin. Starting to generate a bit of offensive momentum here for themselves.
Count 0-2 now to Rains. So a single, a double, and a sacrifice bunt so far from the Bulldogs. Second straight inning, they put a run across. Katie Martin getting the start for WPI for a second straight game. She went 5 innings in that contest against CNU. She was one of very few pitchers in that first round to survive the 4th inning, let alone complete a 5th. The winning pitcher for CNU in that same ball game only went 4. 1-2 to Rains. Whips around on that one. With, again, the pinch runner Cox on third. Cox running for Faith Hernandez, who had the RBI double. That would score the pinch runner Kirsten Williams. Already more runs have scored today for the Bulldogs than in the entirety of their contest back on day 1. Shot up the middle, it gets through. Cox will score. Back-to-back innings again with production for the Bulldogs. Business starting to pick up. Chastity Rains with the RBI.
Well, this is what we're used to seeing from this Bulldog offense. And on day 1, we saw a lot of the long ball, but the Bulldogs, again, not trying to do too much. Playing smart softball, hitting behind their runner, choosing good pitches. A couple runs on the board now.
Engineers coming together. And right now, 35-16 on the year. They finished second in the NEWMAC, but won the conference tournament, overachieving the preseason 4th place finish that was anticipated by their peers. Wade Wilson has already waved 3 runs home over the past 2 innings, including a couple of pinch runners this inning. And last year, the Bulldogs made it all the way to the final for a second straight year, where they played the best 2 out of 3 series against Virginia Wesleyan, the eventual national champions. Had maybe a 4.5-hour bus ride home with that championship trophy. Here's Brandon D. A throw down, and Bulldogs are still perfect on the base paths. Now it's Chastity Rains swiping one.
Well, and Chastity Rains, one of the speedsters on the base paths, for the Bulldogs. It's going to be one of the only Bulldogs with stolen bases above 30 that has yet to be thrown out. 34 for 34 so far on the season.
She was able to go halfway down to the bag again. Nobody holding her on at second, as the corners have to consider pinching in here on D, and that means the shortstop and second baseman have to be quick down to their respective bases over at third and first. And I did not get a good look at that last ball, whether that was and they're going to ask for help, whether the batter withdrew her bat, whether got a piece of the bat.
I think there was a bit of a ricochet off the catcher's mask. I'm not sure she withdrew it fast enough. Looked like that was more for protection than anything else, but that was probably a strike.
And our 3 umpires coming together. Chastity Raines runner on second. If that had been a pass ball, then obviously Wade Wilson was hoping to have her standing on third. She has to go back. Count 1-1. And pardon me, 1 ball, 2 strikes now after that last one. Raines with the 3rd hit this inning for the Bulldogs. Bailey Hudgens broke up the no-hitter with her single. Faith Hernandez had an RBI double. As the count goes full to the number 9 hitter, D. And there's somebody named Kelly Jordan on deck. Payoff pitch from Martin. Looking for that elusive second out. 3 runs on 3 hits for TLU so far. Meanwhile, their pitcher still with a no-hitter through the first 4 innings. Caught looking, strike 3, 2 away.
I've said it in previous broadcasts, Lincoln. I'm surprised at the amount of strikeouts that we're seeing where players are caught looking. And some of these pitchers are doing a great job using the entire strike zone. But those pitches are still a little bit too close to take.
That's the first strikeout today for Katie Martin, who's been getting the ground ball out. Kelly Jordan at the plate. And again, Chastity Raines able to take generous departures from that bag at second. When Jordan squares around, this is obvious with 2 outs. She's not trying to give herself up. She believes she can beat the defense. A 2-0. Gets that one, beautiful bunt. Jordan's going to have a base hit. You just put that one in your back pocket and appreciate what the All-American has when it comes to speed. And now Jordan's going to try to help earn a run here. Jordan has just taken an extra base and dared the Engineers to deny her. So a single for Jordan, who takes an extra 60 feet for fun. And that's 2 Bulldogs in scoring position now.
And I love the confidence of Jordan on the base paths there. Seeing where she can push the envelope, teams up, so bit of a cushion her team has, right? Game's not on the line with 1 run. Seeing if she can be a distraction, able to take that extra 60 feet.
Now the problem with her doing that is she's not going to be able to steal second. So she is still tied for the single season mark in stolen bases. Tried to give her teammate a chance to come home on any kind of miscue from WPI. Here's Maddie Johnson. She's seen 4 of her teammates record base hits this inning. 3 singles and a double. Johnson twice today has grounded out to the shortstop, Ambrosino. Trying to extend this inning. She goes back to the shortstop for the 3rd time, and again, Ambrosino comes through. Bulldogs strand 2, but just as importantly, they score a pair. As the Bulldogs in this elimination game are in the driver's seat up 3-0, heading to the home half of the 5th. Bulldogs fans starting to think about the fact that they may have to get that hotel for another night. Came in today, an elimination day. Of course, if the Bulldogs win, they're not done. They'd come back later on this evening. If WPI can mount a comeback, same would be true for them. We begin today with 8 teams. We aim to end the day with 4. Nothing personal.
Batting now for WPI.
Ashlyn Strother, 5th inning of her start.
Number 44, Sheena.
As she walked 2 in the 1st inning, has not allowed a base runner since. as she faces Shayna Lazarus for a second time now. Lazarus, one of her strikeout victims. And Strother has struck out 8 through the first 4 so far.
And Strother doing a great job relying on her curve on both sides of the plate. We've seen less and less of the rise ball as the game has gone on. Of course, seeing it right there, right as I'm sharing that, but really relying on the pitches at the knees to get some of these engineers either swinging and missing or some of those strikeouts where they're looking.
Not getting any help there. The 1-2 to Lazarus. Over to Hernandez. 12 straight retired by Strother and her defense.
First base, number 11, Kelly Pritchard.
That brings back Kelly Pritchard. And if I don't say what somebody did their previous at bat, pretty good chance you can guess. Strother has struck out 8 today. Pritchard at the plate, Lindsay Ambrosino on deck. The 6, 7, and 8 hitters coming up here in the 5th. Big cut. Unable to get a piece of it.
And Strother doing a good job at working the vertical ladder as well as the horizontal ladder on that curveball. And I was noting it in that last at bat, but really seeing it now. You can see that spin really clearly. Nice and tight, good control there.
Nothing ball game here in the home half of the 5th. WPI does have the benefit of batting last. TLU has the benefit of having Ashlyn Strother. The 1-2. That one just got away from her. Bulldogs again undefeated in conference this year, 21-0. Last year, 18-0. They have dominated the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference since day one. And just fighting them off. Count stays 2-2 here to Kelly Pritchard. Bulldogs were perfect in the NCAA tournament, though Belhaven did push them to an 8th inning in that Friday Super Regional game, a 2-1 final for TLU. They would win the second game 6-2 and punch their ticket back to Salem for their 3rd straight championship appearance. Wade Wilson said the 3 facets to winning this week. Pitchers have to throw strikes. Defense has to make plays. Got to find a way to score. Bulldogs have demonstrated all that here today. That one a rope, but foul. And no, they say that's a fair ball. Base hit for Kelly Pritchard. She wants a double. She'll have a double. First hit of the day for WPI. After 11 straight Engineers retired, the number 7 hitter, Kelly Pritchard, comes through.
Great little piece of hitting there from Pritchard. Turns on that pitch, gets lucky, dots that line there.
And now I do think we have a review. It'll be our first review of the day. And we'll see if we have a conclusive angle. It is ruled a fair ball initially on the field. So the burden would be to find an angle that clearly demonstrated that ball was foul. Otherwise, Pritchard gets to stay right there with a double. So the folks back in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, this is what they're looking at. And you can understand how there's going to be some obstacles to disproving the call. That's not going to do it. And, I mean, you can't ask for much more than having your third base umpire right there on top of it, Stacy Stobo.
Yep.
I mean, what better look can you have than what she's got right there? Now, of course, it's the home plate umpire who gets to make the call, but right now, we remind you, as is the case with Division I and Division II, it is not the onside umpires who make the review. They just will relay the decision made from a centralized hub back in Pennsylvania. During the year, some of your favorite Division I teams, you may have noticed that umpires were looking at monitors. That varied from one conference to another. Someone like the Big 12 umpires were looking at monitors provided by the TV truck, whereas in the SEC, they were consulting the offices in Birmingham.
What's cool about this is that each team can only choose one call, or excuse me, 2 calls for review. But officials, once the 6th inning rolls around, have the support of our team in Pittsburgh to review any call that they need to.
Again, we have not seen anything that puts us anywhere close to thinking this will be overturned. So we anticipate there will be a double officially recorded for Kelly Pritchard. Let's wait and see. That's the case. So the call upheld, and neither of our pitchers working with the no-hitter anymore.
You have to tip your hat to both Martin and Strother. They're both pitching great games thus far. And this is the maybe 2nd or 3rd time now, probably coming around to our 3rd time through the offense for the Engineers. So Strother may have to get a little bit crafty if these Engineers are making adjustments, which we can expect them to, especially in championship play.
Both
They're here for a
pitchers
reason.
lose their no-hitter here in the 5th inning. And that's a foul ball. I think Metzer was fortunate she couldn't handle that one cleanly. Allowed it to drift behind the plate. And as Ambrosino was not looking to give herself up for an out. Double from Pritchard with 1 out. WPI trails by 3 in this elimination game. Season on the line. That one in on the handle of foul ball. And let's see what the mindset is now with 2 strikes.
One of the things I love about watching Lindsay Ambrosino play is that I think I shared in an earlier inning, she's the heart and soul, as described by her coaches, of this team, and may not have, or is having more of a mid-range season when it comes to her batting average, but has some higher numbers in individual categories than she's ever had, right? So highest in triples currently that she's ever had. Same for doubles. Coming 8 doubles on the year, 4 triples. So she's been able to generate a lot of excitement. Her team trusts her. And this is the type of catalytic player that's really great to have in a leadership role.
She is the captain of this squad, trying to come through here with runner in scoring position and 1 out. Takes a tight one, caught looking. 9th strikeout for Strother. A big one.
Designated player, number 5, Stephanie.
And she has fanned Ambrosino twice.
And that inside curve that Strother is throwing for a batter, it looks like it's coming right at your hip. It's going to be just a little bit too far inside, and it tails slightly to just catch the corner of the plate. Again, too close to take in that 2-strike scenario, but a really great execution by Strother.
Back to the DP in the 9th spot. Stephanie Bishop 0 for 1 today with a strikeout in the 3rd inning. And Strother now facing one more than the minimum thanks to the double from Pritchard on second. And she shot that ball right down the left field line. The 1-1 to Bishop. And she has not been cheated on her first two swings.
Yeah, Bishop choosing good pitches. Again, we've seen great at-bats from both sides. The one qualm I have, of course, is that strikeout looking.
10 Ks in the books today for Ashlyn Strother. Again, has faced one more than the minimum through 5. And that 3-run lead still intact here on day 3 in Salem.
Now batting for TLU here in the top of the 6th inning.
Again, a beautiful backdrop
Number 5, Casey Martin.
associated with national championships here in Division III. And oh my goodness, you could not put one down better than Casey Martin. Oh, Casey Martin has trained that ball to sit on command. Even she's impressed. Take a look at this.
That ball just dies. And I think the engineers think that that is going to continue rolling out side the lines. No dice.
So officially the 5th hit during these last 2 innings for the Bulldogs, who were held hitless before that. And if you've been paying attention, the Bulldogs don't like to stick. And did the runner leave as Martin and Sal? Had to have left early on what was otherwise a foul ball.
Used to seeing a bit more of a spectacle when a player is called out like that, but looks like we just missed that.
Live by the sword, die by the sword. Although right now the Bulldogs look like they're going to live. Up by 3. Hernandez pulls that one foul. So great bunt single by Martin. Split second later is back in the dugout. Nobody on here. Yeah, runner left early officially. The 1-1. All 3 runs for TLU have come these last 2 innings. Only managed 1 run in their opening game. That's why they are facing elimination today. That was an uncharacteristic outing. As ball shut up out towards the shortstop, Ambrosino. 2 away.
Your attention, please. Re-entering the game in the number 5.
See if the engineers can get back to the dugout, get the bats in their hands.
Hudgens now batting for the Bulldogs.
This is where Bailey Hudgens has been the DP in the lineup, batting 5th. They ran for her with Kirsten Williams. And they do confirm the re-entry now of Hudgens into the lineup. Obviously, since she doesn't go out there defensively, it's a decision that her head coach gets to put off until her next time in the lineup. 2 outs, nobody on for Hudgens. Last time we saw her, she broke up the no-hitter, the first of 4 hits last inning. And her pinch runner, one of 2 pinch runners to score in the 5th. That was Kirsten Williams, followed by Cox after Faith Hernandez had an RBI double. Hernandez is on deck if Hudgens can extend this inning.
Well, a bummer that Hudgens doesn't have anyone on base. as she's known on this squad. Double-digit doubles on this season. The RBI producer for this Bulldog offense.
Lays off that one, 2-2. Again, this inning began with a magnificent bunt from Casey Martin. For a single that she was able to beat out down the line, and then on the next pitch was called for leaving early on what would be a foul ball. And this count has gone full, as Hudgens apparently knows exactly where that strike zone is. Engineers trying to get off the field. Left side, too hot to handle for Lazarus. Over to the shortstop, Ambrosino, and let's see how the official scorer wants to rule that one. You would understand if it's a base hit for Bailey Hudgens.
It's a well-hit ball, hard-hit ball. Definitely not a routine ground ball. Maybe routine for many of our corners.
And it's going to be the last we hear of Bailey Hudgens. They are going to run for her again. I have to imagine that's a hit.
Your attention, please.
And they're going to go to Lindsay Leal with your traditional number 77 for the freshman. Out there on the base paths, the Corpus Christi native out of Corpus Christi Carroll High. It's her 29th appearance this year. First time we've seen her here in Salem. It is a base hit, so Bailey Hudgens' day ends 2 for 3 as your DP.
And hopefully Leal won't get caught leaving early in the trick. Folks, for those of you watching at home, is you're wanting to leave when the pitcher... Ooh, bit of a tough slide there for Leal.
She'll just laugh it off, as she easily had second, but the landing was not as easy. And little did she know that ball was going into center field. Was her right knee the first thing to touch the bag officially?
Just looks like she couldn't quite execute the seat slide. Sometimes that happens.
Sometimes
Get excited.
Sometimes you have multiple choice in your head. You're debating what to do,
Yep.
and then you try to choose all of the above.
Well, and the trick is, or one of the ways that we're taught to get a good jump is we're actually not leaving when the ball leaves the pitcher's hand, even though that is ideally when you're supposed to. You're actually looking when Katie Martin's foot hits the ground. There's not enough time for the human eye to distinguish generally from when the ball is released, or from the time where the arm is and the foot hits and the ball is released, for an umpire to be able to tell if you've left early or not. So that's really an indicator we're coached on as players.
They'll say Hernandez did not hold up 2-2. Lindsay Leal's just thrilled that at least this game's not being broadcast. Fourth batter of this inning, Hernandez, after Hudgens extended this inning. Bulldogs have scored 3 runs over the past 2 innings. Haven't tacked on anything yet here, but for Wade Wilson, it was worth pulling his DP, who's 2 for 3 on the day, and losing her bat for the rest of the day to run for her once again. Up the middle, and Leal's going to have a chance to come around. An infield miscue will cost the Engineers another run as Leal scores. And now Faith Hernandez, your base runner.
Catcher, number 20.
Leal would have been held at third, even if somehow they didn't get the third out here. But with 2 outs, head down, full speed ahead.
And Faith Hernandez doing a great job situationally hitting for her team. Choosing good pitches, choosing pitches on the outside corner, able to hit behind her runner in every scenario we've seen thus far.
And an error there on Ambrosino, so Faith Hernandez officially is 1 for 3 with an RBI. Here's Sarah Metzer, put down a sac bunt last inning. Gets to swing away here again. She's got pop. That's an awkward spin, and that'll be an out that the Engineers welcome. But not before the Bulldogs plate their 4th run over the last 3 innings. They lead 4-0 against the Engineers at WPI. WPI, one of 8 teams still in the hunt for a national championship this week. They play the Bulldogs of TLU this morning here in our first elimination game. We will have 4 total. We already have 2 scheduled. These first 2 games of the day will each pare the field down a bit. Sydney Russell leads things off. Her 3rd plate appearance today, and what a snag by Laura Hernandez. Oh, Russell thought she might be debating extra bases. Instead, Laura Fernandez with that glove on her left hand, able to snag one.
And, you know, not only a great play by Laura Hernandez, but that is a tough play to make.
All of a sudden,
bit of that lefty spin on there.
WPI down to their final 5 outs. Here's Alex Sheehan, has reached on a fielder's choice and has struck out today. And Ashlyn Strother, one of our 2 starting pitchers, still in this ball game, as Strother has struck out 10, including at one point 6 in a row. A 1-1 count to Alex Sheehan. And we did not see Strother for the Bulldogs in the first game this week. Count 2-1. Taking a stab at it, 2-2. Busy weekend for WPI as both rowing and outdoor track and field competing for national championships this week. Softball here in Salem.
It's interesting to watch. Y'all can't see it from the broadcast angle, from the current camera lens, but it's interesting seeing TLU tuck in according to different pitches that are being thrown.
And that's why. Sydney Gearbrack spotting the shortstop, Faith Hernandez sucking in a bit, and that's a defense that knows their pitcher.
Well, and most of the time on a slapper, you're going to have your defense tucked in a little bit. And most of it was interesting was the right side of the field, so Laura Hernandez way far off the line. And a good play by Faith Hernandez is really what we've come to expect from her all season long. Solid there making the play.
So a couple of lineouts here in the 6th inning. And that window for a comeback starting to get a little slimmer. As Alicia Salvalzo comes up, she walked back in the 1st. WPI would not have another base runner until the 5th inning. Their lone hit today, a double from Kelly Pritchard, who would be stranded before last inning came to a conclusion. As Salvalzo comes up here with 2 outs and nobody on.
Well, and I love the adjustments that Strother is making now that WPI is choosing different pitches, being a little bit more aggressive, starting off this at-bat with 2 off speed. Tried to get a bite with that last rise ball. Switching up the tools, or the order of the tools that she has in her arsenal.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
And again, that inside curve on a right-handed hitter, you think it's coming, it's going to be a little bit too far inside. Strother doing a great job of throwing it right at the hip so it tails in.
WPI is guaranteed all of the 4 outs remaining. No threat of a run rule. As TLU, the visiting team. 11th strikeout for Ashlyn Strother. Her teammates have given her insurance the past couple of innings, and she has continued to go to work. Championship City here in Division III, Salem, Virginia.
6.
Of course, so many champions have been.
Your attention, please. Pinch hitting. For Brandolin D in the number 9 position for TLU, number 44, Kylie Jack. Jack, now at the plate for the Bulldogs. Left fielder, number 26, Kelly Jordan. Reentering the game and now running it first for the Bulldogs, number 8, Brandolin D. D, back in the lineup now for TLU. She's running it first.
Comes up, that defense is just guessing as to what she's going to try to do. She can swing away, slap, she can bunt for a base hit. I don't know the last time she squared around to give herself up for a cheap out. Runner going, and D is safe. Either 4 for 4 or 5 for 5 today. Bulldogs in the stolen base department. has helped them manufacture some runs.
Well, the Bulldogs have a very aggressive playing style. Offensively speaking, they're going to push the envelope, trying to put pressure on the other team by speeding the game up as much as possible from beginning to end. So we're seeing the Bulldogs play their game more so today than we saw in the first game in this tournament.
I'm guessing Kelly Jordan has the green light on a 3-0 count. As Martin gets the strike she needs to keep Jordan at the plate. Jordan entered this week hitting .379, 23 RBI, and back-to-back strikes from Martin. Jordan stealing her 73rd base on the season, back in the 4th inning, breaking a tie for number one all-time, or pardon me, tying for number one all-time in a single season. And Jordan, I'm guessing that's an infield single, and she's going to do it again. Jordan's just going to take second. And they throw into center. This will give them the window at home. Play at the plate. Safe. And Kelly Jordan is standing on third after all of that. The captain of chaos. As the Bulldogs have their 5th run. There won't be an RBI for her. But that was all Kelly Jordan.
Well, and I love the aggression again of Kelly Jordan. Again, looking to push the envelope. Has a couple runs. Her team has produced some runs to make sure that she can take those kinds of risks. Again, a calculated risk by Jordan and something we've come to expect from her. This is one of those moments where there's a bit of chaos against speeding it up on the defense, where the engineers just need to settle in, make the least amount of throws. The more throws you make, generally, the more opportunities there are for mistakes, so you can eliminate that as much as possible, even if the other team's trying to.
And they are reviewing, presumably, the play at the plate. So Kelly Jordan reaches on what I assume is an infield single, and then the error on the throw into center. And they are, in fact, reviewing the play at the plate that at the moment has the Bulldogs up 5-0. It was close. Again, Brandolyn D had re-entered to run. When you're in front of Jordan, you better run. And that looks like she's in under the tank.
Yeah, the Bulldogs have done a great job of staying out of the line of fire when it comes to the tag. Slides quite far outside of the base path, able to get her hand underneath the tag.
If you're Kelly Jordan's teammate, we could understand if you're just caught standing and watching and admiring what Kelly's doing, but there's a reason why she's doing what she's doing. And it is a run scored for the Bulldogs. You should have runners on first and third right now. Kelly Jordan again decided to casually go for a stroll down to second base, see if she could bait a throw. She did at the last second. And with that throw going into center, that opened the door for Wade Wilson's women to take a fifth. There was nothing to lose to send that runner home. Everything to gain as they have stretched the lead to 5.
Well, and really an opportunity for the engineers to take a breath, right? Kelly Jordan is not necessarily the game-winning run at this point, so the context of her trying to push the envelope matters here, and the engineers need to settle in, play their game. It's not over till it's over. They are going to get an opportunity to have a comebacker here.
It was a single from Jordan that would hit off the shortstop's leg. It was the miscues after that. That would be the 3rd error by the engineers. As Maddie Johnson trying to put down a bunt. Maddie today's been a consistent hitter. 3 ground outs to the shortstop.
Well, the numbers tell us anything, Lincoln. Maddie Johnson is due here, the triple threat.
Sophomore hitting .427 coming into this week.
Yeah, there is such thing as a sophomore slump, and Johnson is not experiencing it. We love to see that for her.
Maybe a Salem slump for the moment. That pitch a little tight. Kelly Jordan standing on third, and this is a couple times now that Kelly, after singling, has denied her a chance at history. Unless she steals home.
And Johnson and Jordan have done a great job for this Texas Lutheran offense being a 1-2 punch. So if Jordan's not able to get it done, Johnson's able to pick up the slack wherever she needs to.
The 1-2 with one out. Jordan standing on third. If you're the Bulldogs, you like your odds of seeing Kelly at some point cross that plate this inning.
Mm-hmm. Well, and again, they're not trying to do too much here. This is not a team that relies on the long ball. They rely on the doubles, the singles, the smart choices.
And just snagged by Salvalzo for out number 2. 2 away.
Second base, number 5, Casey Martin.
Brings up the meat of the lineup, Casey Martin. She had that bunt single to lead off last inning before being caught leaving the bag early on the next pitch. If you're Jocelyn Diaz, your role critical behind the plate. No pass balls, no wild pitches. Otherwise, Jordan's going to test your ability to track down that ball. And Casey Martin, if she squares around to put one down, she also has to be able to beat out a throw. She's anticipating that throw would come home. Engineers just need one out to get out of this inning. For a 4th straight inning, the Bulldogs have scored. 1 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, 1 in each of the most recent 2 innings. For a 5-0 lead in this first elimination game of the week.
And we talk about playing one pitch at a time and winning the inning.
That'll get down. Jordan comes home. It's 6-0 TLU. And it's back-to-back hits for Casey Martin, now 2 for 4 today.
Well, like I was sharing earlier, Lincoln, this Bulldog offense is not going to rely on the long ball. So they've been playing really smart softball today, choosing good pitches, hitting behind their runner, doing all the little things right. Again, some of these details, maybe not small ball the way we saw in day 1, but certainly taking care of the details offensively.
That sun now starting to break through the clouds, shining down on Laura Hernandez, who is 0 for 3 today with a fly out, ground out, and pop out so far. She's the 6th batter this inning for TLU, coming up here with 2 outs and 1 on. Pulls that one foul. So Brandolyn D and Kelly Jordan have scored here in the 7th. Casey Martin, the runner on first. Or Hernandez back to Salem for a 2nd straight year, the sophomore. And Hernandez last year primarily a pinch hitter, also saw time as a DP. She did have a home run last year, had a couple of RBI in that national runner-up performance. Katie Martin looking for that 3rd strike. She'll get it. That's your inning. But not before the Bulldogs bring 6 to the plate and score a pair. They grow their lead to 6. WPI down to its final 3 outs here in 2022.
Now batting for the Engineers.
Well, you wouldn't know it, but their team's leading. Heading into the home half of the 7th. Bulldogs hoping to stick around after suffering their earliest defeat in a championship these past few years. For WPI, they're not new to this adversity thing. Last week in the Super Regional, in that 3rd game, they were being held hitless through 5 innings against Tufts and then put up 6 runs. The next frame, as they would go on to beat Tufts 6-1 and punch their ticket here to Salem. Ashlyn Strother has 11 strikeouts today. A shutout thus far, just allowing 1 base hit. That hit came in the 5th inning, a double from Kelly Pritchard. If WPI can get their first base runner since then, Pritchard will have a chance to come up for a 2nd time. Right now it's Jocelyn Diaz, your cleanup hitter, leading off here in the bottom of the 7th.
What I love about postseason is, especially for these teams that get an opportunity to play here, who've certainly earned the opportunity to play here, is they get an opportunity to break some of these records. We've seen it with Kelly Jordan. We've seen a couple K counts go up above 200. Strother above 200 on the season now. We saw Michon yesterday also get above 200 from Eastern. So it's exciting for these players, regardless of where they are at their career. There's some incredible milestones.
Strother, we mentioned 11 strikeouts twice, has struck out Diaz. She'll put this one in play. Faith Hernandez, long throw to Laura Hernandez. And WPI down to their final 2 outs here in the 7th.
Right fielder.
And what a year it's been for the Engineers. Seeking their 36th victory under the first year of Heather Ross, who's already won more games than any other first-year head coach for WPI's softball program. You can understand when her brother scheduled his wedding for last week, as if he had a choice, that he looked at WPI's history and said, well, y'all aren't going to typically be in that super regional weekend. This should be safe. Well, ultimately his sister had to miss that wedding to lead her Engineers to a super regional title. Just a reminder, she has a full year to send a gift. Callie Case 0 for 2 today. A strikeout and flyout against Strother.
You didn't know you get wedding gift etiquette today on this broadcast, did you?
We've got 6 games today. You're going to hear about a lot of things. Count 2-2. Again, clouds starting to entirely disappear. Blue skies above, sun pouring down, and 12 strikeouts now for Ashlyn Strother.
Third base, number 44, Sheena Lazarus.
And remember, the Bulldogs, after this, they don't get to call it a day. They have to sit back and, after a couple of games, figure out who they're playing later on tonight.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. We've had a little bit of weather that we've had to deal with here in Salem, but these teams are ready. They're here to compete.
Shayna Lazarus comes up here, the freshman, out of Thousands Oak, California. Her first college season, hit .342, 37 RBI, 2 home runs coming into this week. What a journey it's been. Let's see if she can prolong this 2022 campaign.
Well, Lazarus has been one of the other 3 pitchers in the rotation for the Engineers. Helped shoulder some of the innings, along with Pritchard, Togneri, and of course, Katie Martin.
Milliken and Eastern Connecticut State are up next in our second elimination game. That should start a little over 20 minutes after the completion of this one. And Bulldogs will have to not only wait through that game, but then the next one, as a lot of proud Engineer fans trying to cheer them on to a comeback here, down to their final out. Facing the All-American today, Strother in the circle. This will just be out of play. Bulldogs only scored 1 run in that loss in the opening round, but they are back to Bulldog softball. There weren't any big hits, but once they get on the base paths, they know what to do.
Yeah, the Bulldogs have not relied on the long ball, really been strategic, chosen great pitches, really been able to manufacture runs as they have all season long.
And Lazarus has extended the season for at least one more hitter. Second hit on the day for WPI against Strother. It's a 2-out single for the freshman.
Well, Lazarus has been mighty busy over there at third. Nice to see the freshman be able to produce. in this final hour here for her seniors. Again, it's not over till it's over.
Only reason why that didn't break up the no-hitter is because this woman, Kelly Pritchard, had a double in the 5th inning. Twelve straight batters had been retired by Ashlyn Strother before Kelly Pritchard broke up that run with her double. 7 straight were retired after that until the single from Lazarus a moment ago. Along the way, the Bulldogs just continued to add to their lead each top half of the past 4 innings. Bottom third of the order trying to come through for WPI. The 2-0 to Pritchard.
Pritchard taking a big hack there, but leading this Engineer offense in doubles. 12 coming into, or 12 after her hit today.
So they're focused on getting that 3rd out. That one fouled, 2-2.
Nice to see some of these freshmen that are going to continue their time here with the Engineers, getting some postseason experience, some national championship experience. Be interesting to see where those young women are 3 years from now.
Lazarus the runner on first, the freshman, after her single with 2 outs. Pritchard trying to extend this ball game as well. Down to her final strike. 13 strikeouts will do it today for Ashlyn Strother to keep the Bulldogs' quest for a 2nd national championship alive. Bulldogs not done. We'll see them again later on tonight here in Salem. But a field of 8 teams has been trimmed to 7 as the season for WPI comes to a conclusion here this championship week in Salem, Virginia.
You have to tip your hat to the Engineers. They've had an incredible season. We saw a ton of fight from them in both games. Tip your hat to Katie Martin. Got every single inning here today. An outstanding career for the Engineers thus far. Ambrosino, another one of the leaders on this Engineer squad. An incredible season, a lot to be proud of.
2-hit shutout for the All-American Strother with the season on the line for the Bulldogs. They'll sit back and await to learn their opponent. They're going to have to wait a little while. Our next game coming up, another elimination game in about 20 minutes here on NCAA.com. It'll be Milliken and Eastern Connecticut State with the same stakes on the line, an elimination contest. We began today with 8 teams. We will finish with only 4 as our coverage continues from Salem, Virginia here on NCAA.com.